Well, here we are. The 2018-2019 highly anticipated Leafs season begins Wednesday night as the Leafs take on the Habs. And here we are. Look, this is it. All right, Leaf fans, after the last year of the terrible loss to the Bruins, after collapsing once again in the third period, as well as John Tavares becoming a Toronto Maple Leaf, Leafs Nation's hopes are through the roof this year. And as of this Wednesday, 2 days from right now, puck drop at Scotiabank Arena, Game 1 of 82 against the Habs. Now, we're going to talk about some news and all that kind of stuff before we talk about the season as itself, because this is your season preview. Excuse me. First things first. Curtis McElhinney, Connor Carrick, and Calvin Pickard, however you want to pronounce his name, I've heard a few different pronunciations to his name, have been placed on waivers. That was initially what we heard this morning at about, 10:30, maybe a little bit before that. That's what we heard. First things first, Calvin Pickard, kind of what we expected. We expected him to go down to the AHL, and you expected Curtis McElhinney to be the backup because of his track record with his team over the last 2 years, plus his, for the most part, very good preseason except for the last game. No. He gets pushed onto the waiver wire. We'll get to my opinion on that in a second. And Connor Carrick initially gets put on waivers, but then, or at least it was reported that he was going to be put on waivers, but then there was a false report because Connor Carrick has been traded, or had been traded to the Dallas Stars for a conditional 7th round pick. Now, the condition on that pick, if Connor Carrick plays 50 games at the very least for the Dallas Stars this year, the Leafs get a 6th round pick instead of a 7th. So not even much of a return at all for Connor Carrick. And Leaf fans, don't sit here and go, oh, what the heck Stuba's doing, just trading him for nothing. Well, technically he didn't trade him for nothing, but if he did go on waivers, you probably would have lost him for diddly squat. So, at that point in time, your hands are tied. You got to try and get something for him, and you get a conditional 7th, which could turn into a 6th round pick in next year's draft. So Connor Carrick is no longer a Toronto Maple Leaf. Connor, thank you for all your contributions. Thank you for the great Marlies runs you've been on. It was a lot of fun to watch that. However, it was a tough time in Toronto. I understand that for your sake. All the best in Dallas, and hopefully he succeeds, because he's a guy that's worked hard, but just hasn't got the time. When he did get the time, he didn't play all that well, so it's going to be a very interesting road for him, but good luck nonetheless. So there's one of the players that was reportedly put on the waiver wire. Calvin Pickard, I expect to clear. Curtis McElhinney is not the backup goaltender this year for the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's Garrett Sparks. And you guys already know my opinion towards that. We talked about it on the podcast yesterday. We've talked about it in previous Leaf videos. Through the whole preseason, we were talking about it. If I'm Curtis McElhinney, I'm thinking to myself, man, what do I have to do to lock up a job? When he came over on waivers from Columbus a couple years ago, he was stellar and pretty much won this team that game against the Pittsburgh Penguins to get us into the playoffs in Game 81. Last year, Freddie Anderson goes down with a small injury. Curtis McElhinney gets like 12 wins for this team on the year. For a backup, you don't see that. And he put up career numbers in goals against average and save percentage, and he was stellar. He had like 3 shutouts. Or 4, or whatever it was. And he doesn't make the team? Now, I know. Garrett Sparks, the great AHL goaltender, always been great with the Marlies. Yeah, I'm sorry, but we have seen this before. Ben Scrivens. Remember, he was a great Marlies goalie, got them through the playoffs, got them through like 2 rounds. Gets called to the NHL, doesn't do well with the Leafs, goes to Edmonton, stinks. Now he's in Finland, Sweden, wherever he is over there. Justin Pogge. Leaf fans, remember that name? Great with the Marlies. Plays a couple of games with the Leafs. Meh. Goes back down. Finishes the year. Gone. Over in Sweden, Russia, wherever the heck he is now. Anybody else that I'm missing here? Remember Drew McIntyre? He was great with the Marlies, but that's it. We've seen this time and time again. Good AHL goalies have a tough time transitioning into the NHL. And I've said this over time, guys, with you guys and everything. Garrett Sparks is a very scrambly goaltender. In the AHL, that might work. In the NHL, not so much. The reason I liked McElhinney, he's been the backup his entire career. He knows how to get it done in backup situations. Garrett Sparks has not been through that. I know he's the younger goalie and you want to develop him, and he had a great AHL year last season. That's fantastic. McElhinney's got 1 year left on his deal. I understand you don't want to lose Garrett Sparks on waivers, so you want to keep him on the roster. I know. I understand that. That must have been a really tough decision to let Curtis McElhinney go on waivers. I want to hear what you guys have. What are your opinions on that? And the thing for me is, what if Garrett Sparks has a couple terrible starts to start his young season? They're going to call it McElhinney? Well, is it you're expecting him to come in and do what he's done the last couple of years? That's difficult. If he even clears waivers, as of right now, he's not on team. He hasn't been picked up yet. But that's just my opinion towards that, guys. You guys can go nuts about that whole situation and all that. But disregarding those situations, this is what the Toronto Maple Leafs 2018-2019 rosters look like without William Nylander. So you can predict the lines however you want. This is the way I see them. Tavares, Hyman, Marner, nasty. Marleau, Matthews, Ennis. Levo, Kadri, Connor Brown. Janssen, Lindholm, and Kasperi Kapanen. Now, if Nylander's not back by the season opener, which I don't think he will be, there's only 2 days left, it's going to be very interesting for Josh Levo. He's got a chance to crack the roster more or less because of William Nylander's absence. But let's see what he can do with it. He's playing with Nazem Kadri and Connor Brown. No scrubs. He's playing third line time, not fourth line. It's going to be very interesting to tell what happens with Josh Levo. You know what you're going to get from the first 2 lines. Just stud minutes and a lot of goals. The bottom 2 lines, look, I love this fourth line. I'm sorry. Par Lindholm, Andreas Janssen, Kasperi Kapanen. Skill, speed, and for the most part, good on both ends of the ice. We've seen Kapanen on the PK. You know Lindholm's great defensively. It's going to be a very interesting fourth line for this team. I'm jacked up to watch that team. And the extra player is Frederic Gauthier. Now, I'm kind of shocked they kept him up here. I don't know if he's a guy that can go on waivers. You guys can let me know about that situation. He might be. And if he is, they didn't want to lose him. But, I mean, Frederic Gauthier really hasn't proved much at the AHL level, let alone the NHL level. Now, ideally, what other situation would you have? Josh Joris? Maybe. I thought a guy like Josh Joris would have made it over Frederic Gauthier. But you got a big 6'5", I think he is, center who can win faceoffs, kill penalties. I guess that's a good guy to have up in the press box, I guess. Now let's go to the defense. You got Riley, Hainsey, Gardner, Zaitsev, Dermott, Ozhiganov, and Martin Marincin, and Justin Hall. Now, I expected the top 6 to look like that. And Justin Hall, well, with the move of Connor Carrick being moved out, you expected Justin Hall to get into that mix. But Martin Marincin? I know he, again, great Marley's playoff run last year. But Martin Marincin? I thought maybe Callie Rosen, who had a terrible second half of the preseason, was great in the first bit. Andreas Borgman, if you're talking about NHL time, he was terrific for this team for the most part last year. There were times he had some blunders and everything, but if you're talking about a 7th or 8th defenseman, okay. We got to trust Babcock and the organization, I guess. They have faith in Martin Marincin. I mean, he's a 7th defenseman, 8th defenseman. I get it. It's nothing crazy, but put in perspective, one of our guys goes down. He's in the lineup. Very interesting to tell, and Anderson and Garrett Sparks round out the goaltenders for the Toronto Maple Leafs. guys, here we go. I mean, I've been ready since John Tavares signed. I know you guys have. I mean, ever since the Jays started sucking, it's been, okay, let's get the Leafs and Raptors seasons going. But now here it is. We are 2 days away from puck drop at home against the Montreal Canadiens. Guys, as Leaf fans, let's stay calm and humble with this team. I know we're excited, I know, and we don't want to automatically say playoffs, because you can never really do that. Game by game. First up, you got the Montreal Canadiens. Do your job. Look, on paper, you should destroy this team, but they have Carey Price. I don't care what his preseason number suggests. I don't care what last year's number suggests. He is Carey Price. He is amazing, no matter what number suggests. It's not going to be easy. But the way this offense shapes up, the Leafs should be pounding Carey Price like crazy with shots. Now, how is Anderson going to fare in his first month? That's going to be a big question mark. Did he have a good preseason? For the most part, I thought he had pretty good. I think his last start was a little iffy, but made some big saves, and the Leafs got the victory. So, I think the thing that is key for this team, you know, obviously being able to score, and that's the main thing in hockey. You score more goals than the other team, you're going to win. If Freddie Anderson... Oh, hey now, what was that? If Freddie Anderson can give you what he gives you every month of the year except for October, through the entire season this year, including October, this team will be... it will do wonders for this team. If he can do that, I can see him above a .920 save percentage throughout the entire season. And that's a very good number. But it's only time is going to tell, really. You know, we've seen chemistry is there. We've seen that. And I think Dermott and Ozhiganov, I think, is going to be a really underestimated D pairing. I think Gardner and Zaitsev my personal opinion, guys, Zaitsev is going to have some crazy bounce back year and have a great year. Then Riley Hainsey, it's going to be very interesting to tell what Babcock does with Ron Hainsey's minutes. I know he's the dynamite PK guy, and he's playing first line with Morgan Riley. But like we've said over and over through the offseason and even at the end of last year, Ron Hainsey cannot play the same amount of minutes as he did last year. He was getting pounded too much, plus the workload was intense. And you saw at the end of the year and in the playoffs, he was getting tired. Because he was the guy out there for the PK all the time, for all 2 minutes. And then out there for the first line, you know, the first D pairing out there as well. That's a lot of work for a 38, 39-year-old player. But, again, we got to trust this team's judgment. We got to trust them. We got to... Look, I'm excited. I know you guys are too. I know we all want William Nylander back, and I'm curious, guys. I'm really curious here. What do you guys do when Nylander comes back? First off, where do you slot? Right when I told you guys the lines there, I read some lines. That's what I saw. Out of those 4 lines that I mentioned to you guys, where does Nylander sit in? And the person he replaces, where do they go? You know, let's say he's replacing, I don't know. I wouldn't say Patrick Marleau. Maybe like who's on that second line with him? I'm just going to check that out here, guys. Tyler Ennis. Does he go down to the 4th line? Okay, well, where does Janssen or Kapanen go? Well, you move them to the second line? You know, where do they go? Someone's got to get out of the lineup once Nylander comes back. Who's it going to be? Are you going to give up on Josh Leivo that early? What if he has a great start to the season? What do you do? Lots of question marks heading into the year for this team, but the expectations are through the roof. You guys know it. I know it. But as Leaf fans, we got to keep a level head and think, okay, we're as equal as every other team. They're NHL players. You know, sometimes teams lose to the Arizona Coyotes last year. We lose to the Buffalo Sabres on a consistent basis. It happens. Game by game. Game 1 against the Habs Wednesday night. Do not look past... I don't even know who we're playing next after that game. I'm looking right at that one game and nowhere else. That's what we got to do. Have that mindset of one game at a time. Don't look at standings at all. Don't look at that one game at a time. We got this, Leaf fans. All right, so you know what, guys? That is going to do it for this one. You guys enjoy this video, and you guys are jacked up for the Leafs to get this season going. Oh, my goodness. Hit that like button. I do appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button if you guys have not already. Comment down below. What are you most excited about for this year? To see John Tavares in a regular season game with this team? To see him and Marner for a full 82-game set? Just to see this team overall play great? I want to hear what you guys have to say about this team, about this lineup, about all this year, and what you guys are most excited for, and what are your expectations, realistic expectations for this team heading into the year and possibly throughout the playoffs. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Comment down below, all kinds of stuff. This is for you guys to discuss everything. And Evan and I will talk to you guys. It'll probably be Thursday podcast edition. Link is in the description for the podcast channel and for the podcast itself on iTunes, guys. Twitter is also down below. Follow up, send me a DM, do all that great stuff. By the way, if you guys are still watching the video at this point, I will be live streaming Game 1 of 82 of the Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Montreal Canadiens. The live stream, I'm hoping to get it all started by 6:45. If not, then I apologize in advance, but I'm going to try and get this thing going about 6:45, so guys, stay ready, get ready, we're going to watch this game together and get jacked up. By the way, before you guys get into the live stream, there is a delay. So everyone's saying that, everyone in the comments of the stream saying, hey, you're delayed, you're delayed, you're delayed. I know. My reactions are on point, but it's just the YouTube live stream is delayed. All right, just a heads up right there. But if you guys are joining, hey, it'd be a lot of fun to have you out and watch the game with me, and we'd have a ton of fun. All right, so I hope you guys enjoy this one. I hope you guys are jacked up for the video, for the live stream, and the game, and the season as a whole. Like I said, Evan and I will talk to you guys on Thursday. I will talk to you guys Raptors edition tomorrow night as they play Game 2 of their preseason against the Utah Jazz. 9 p.m. tip-off in Salt Lake City as the Raptors look to go 2-0, and you look to see more progression from this team moving forward, and they just look to grind it out, and hopefully October 17th hurries the heck up. And as for the Leafs, guys, here we go. Game 1 of 82. Montreal Canadiens, Toronto Maple Leafs, 7 o'clock puck drop at the, I was going to say Ryder Center, but I thought ACC, and I had to think, it is going to take me some time to get used to Scotiabank Arena as the Leafs kick off their 2018-2019 season. Guys, live stream once again will start at 6:45. Hope you guys are down for that, and I will keep you guys posted on Twitter. Is also down below, guys. Follow up, send me a DM, do all that great stuff. I will mention it on Twitter when the live stream will be starting, and give you kind of live updates on when I'll be getting going and all that stuff. Carey Price, Freddie Anderson, like I said, 7 o'clock puck drop at Scotiabank Arena. Here we go, guys. Game 1 of 82. We'll talk to you guys then.